I'll molest you.
Okay, anyway. I'm definitely including that, though.
He's the Jackie Robinson of
Whoa! I just agreed to that. I was like, yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute. He has to like escape a lock or whatever in time, or else there's like this contraption that's gonna like pull down his pants in front of a bunch of like
Nathan Fielder. Yeah.
Like that's what it is. We're back. No, we're back with another episode. We're going to be previewing every single game for week 1 of the NFL season. Get hyped because it's finally here.
Have we ever been more back, Adam? NFL football is right around the corner.
People are saying that
when
we've
this
never
is
been
coming
more back.
out, the day that this is coming out, there will be NFL football being played.
Absolutely, dude. I'm hype. I'm excited. And then at the end, we're also going to give our award predictions. So it should be a good one.
Oh, yes. Well, we are going to, this is a pretty straightforward episode in terms of talking about the slate of games that is before us, but we wanted to establish something this NFL season, a little competition between us, and you all at home can follow along, a little point system for you. So the skeleton of this game is very simple. Every week, we predict every single game that is on the NFL slate. If you get the game prediction right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, you get no points. The wrinkle on top of that is something that we're calling Upset Alert. Upset Alert is a fun little game where each week Adam and I are allowed to pick one game. We will not know ahead of time, so we could pick the same game. It's totally within the rules. There's no collaboration. This is a competition, of course, so we want to get one up on the other. You were allowed to pick one of two things to do. You can pick a team that is an underdog to cover. The qualifier is that the team has to be at least a 2.5 point underdog. If that team covers the spread, you get 3 points instead of just the regular 1 point. If that team does not cover, then you lose a point. Or you can go for the much more fun, high risk, high reward of picking the underdog to outright win the game. If you do so, you get 3 points plus however many points the spread was. So if a team was a 4-point underdog and you pick them to win the game outright, you would get 3 points plus the 4 points that they were an underdog. But if the team that you pick to outright win loses the game, if they cover the spread, you only lose 2 points. And if they lose and don't even cover, you lose 3 points. That's the skeleton for this game. We'll be starting to keep track this episode. Let's jump right in to the games.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, of course.
The first thing I want to say is that we also are going to have the creative flexibility to be able to essentially use this point system to stake a claim in, let's say, takes that we agree with on a week-to-week basis. So let's say I believe that one team is going to win, Jonathan believes the other team is going to win, and we emphatically disagree. I can say, I bet you 10 points that this team is going to win, and then that would carry over. And so just to clarify, me and Jonathan care a lot, and I'm springing this on Jonathan. We will workshop this, but I would love to create a situation where you guys can kind of give us ideas of what the punishment will be for the loser, just to kind of add some skin in the game with our predictions and our takes.
And this is, just like you're saying, this is an evolving point system. This is the skeleton with the one little upset alert wrinkle, but this could expand to a greater podcast point system where we are betting and there are punishments involved. And so we're getting started with it this NFL season, easing into it. Both of us will be accumulating some points. And when we get a few weeks into it, or maybe even this episode, someone has a hot take and you just want to get a head start, stake your claim 5 points on this. You want to get ahead. And let me just say, folks, I intend on beating this man, Adam Wilkins.
Yeah, no. And again, I do want to create a punishment, and I'd love to get the audience involved, because then it really matters, right? Like, let's see, how much do you actually care and believe what you're saying? Because if you lose, something bad could happen. So it'll be fun, but we can move on to the actual individual matchups. Week 1, right? Thursday Night Football. It's going to be occurring the day that this episode releases. Dallas Cowboys at Eagles. Where are you going?
So, at the time, just to be clear, this is not my upset alert simply because I am mentioning the spread, but I thought, just to give people some context here, the Philadelphia Eagles are currently 7.5 point favorites, greater than a touchdown, which, in betting terms can be a little bit scary as soon as you go above a singular touchdown. Before the Micah Parsons trade, man, I was eager to actually pick this upset, and now all of the air is deflated. This will be a coronation for the Eagles, celebrating being the reigning champions, hang the banner. I think the Eagles win this game pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that the Eagles are going to win. However, this is my upset alert. I think that the Cowboys will cover. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like a lot of people think. There are a couple. I know. I think that's shocking, just because I have not been high on the Cowboys. Yeah, right off the rip. I think that part of the reasoning here is just because the spread is so high compared to a lot of the games that are going on. I think that it will be within a touchdown. And so there's that. The other thing too, I think that people are underestimating the impact that a trade like this trade that occurred with Micah Parsons can have positively short term for a team, is how I'll put it. I think that
like the boys are fired up.
Yeah. And apparently, I don't know if this is true, so I'm not going to say it like it is true.
I know what you're about to say.
And this isn't any flack against Micah Parsons, but there were reports that related to the podcast and just other things that he wasn't a locker room favorite. And so here you have this situation where you are the clear underdogs, where your star player was traded, and everyone is talking about how you're a degenerate organization, that you're a bunch of idiots, that you don't make any sense, that you suck, blah, 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 all of these different things, and that you lost this guy who everyone loves. And if it's true, these reports are true, it's a situation where it's like, yeah, I want to prove everybody wrong. And so I'm saying that, and on the same
I disagree
token,
with you, but you can also add into that the Brian Schottenheimer effect.
Exactly.
I'm a rookie head coach. This whole mess has been thrown at my feet. I have nothing to do with this. I'm going to get the guys fired up. Screw the Eagles. Screw their celebration. We're going in there and we're taking them down.
Exactly. It's one of those. It's kind of like in high school, whenever a visiting team goes to the homecoming game, where it's like you're fired up, like you're ready to ruin the vibe and ruin the mood. I'm not predicting the Cowboys to win. I still think that the Eagles are going to win, but the fact that the spread is so wide compared to every other single matchup, and the fact that I do think I'm a huge believer in just assessing the vibes of a team. And the reason why I am a believer of that is because rarely ever does the team with the best roster end up winning the Super Bowl, like the best roster on paper. And I just think that the Cowboys are going to be fired up. I don't think it's going to last. I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs, but I think for this specific matchup, we're talking about a divisional game where if there were tension in the locker room, they don't want to just prove the media wrong. They want to prove that individual player wrong, that there's just enough, I guess you could say, fuel to that fire. And on the same token, I think that the Eagles might not be completely taking this matchup seriously. And so I think that a combination of both those things doesn't lead to the Eagles losing, but I do think it could lead to a situation where it's a field goal or maybe even a touchdown. And even if it's just one, even if the difference is 7 points, they still cover. And so that's why they're my upset alert.
Yeah, in terms of purely the Vegas betting perspective,
I
a
think it's a fair
cover on a
bet. I think
seven and
it's
a
a good
half
bet.
point spread is not a bad bet. In this context,
Yeah.
no, you've made the case. This is not my upset alert, and I have Philadelphia winning.
Yeah. Sounds good. All
So,
right. Next matchup.
and I did just want to note real quick that I like a lot of what you said. I think it's one of those scenarios where the first half could start off like that. It could even be a situation where the Cowboys are leading at half. And
Yeah.
then the Eagles kind of wake up and are like, wait, what are we doing? And then
Yeah.
they outscore the
Well,
Cowboys by like 14 points in the second
I
half.
will say I'm taking a very optimistic look at this. There's also a world where all of the like team dynamics related to both the Super Bowl win and the celebration and the Micah Parsons trade work in the exact opposite effect I just said. Like there's
Yeah.
totally a world where the Cowboys are disgruntled and the Eagles are like on this high and it's a complete blowout, right? Like that is within the realm of possibility. But if you're going to say that they're going to cover the spread, you have to take a risk. I just feel like that this is the best risk.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, the next game is the preceding day, Friday night
Chiefs,
in Sao Paulo,
Chargers.
Brazil. The
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs, technically a Chargers home game. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just the way that it's denoted in the schedule, obviously. But this is a international matchup. The first time that either of these teams will have played in Brazil. I believe the second ever Brazil game in NFL history.
That sounds right.
Adam, what are your initial thoughts?
Um, we've kind of talked about this before. I think that the Chiefs win pretty handily. Maybe not handily. Like it'll probably be close, but I do think that the Chiefs are going to win in the end. I think that obviously the Rashi Rice injury hurts. I will say though,
Suspension.
that's what I meant to say. Yeah. I
Yeah.
will say though, if they don't win this game, things get a little bit scary for them. The reason I say that is just because they have a lot of tough matchups early in the season when you look at the schedule. And so like this is one of those ones where it's like if I predict that they're going to start off the season like start this game off well, and that's going to provide some sort of a foundation for them to be able to make it through that tough stretch at the beginning of the season. But really it comes down to just like historical precedent. I think that the Chiefs have a good defense. Like I think, it's Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Spagnuolo. I think it's going to be close, but in the end the Chiefs are gonna win.
Yeah. I, I fall mostly in that vein. To add even more sketchiness, I don't like for the Chiefs that it's in Brazil. I think that the international game for the team that should be better than the other team is an advantage for the underdog.
Yes, true. I guess.
Hypothetically, like marginal, but
I just
I
think that that's
just
overcome by the fact that the perceived home team no longer really has home field advantage.
fair. That's also I don't know if that's a demoralizing to the players, but just like
I don't think it
really
is,
we're
but
losing but like in the concept of a season, you're losing a home game, although are Chargers games ever really home
I was
games?
literally just about to make that point. That like
Yeah.
it's not really, but whatever.
So, this will be a mostly Chiefs crowd, both by the fact that the Chiefs pre the dynasty actually always had a pretty sneakily large international presence, especially in South America, but and Central America, and even now post dynasty, just with the
Of course,
popularity,
yeah,
like it's gonna be 80% Chiefs fans. So this will be effectively a home game for the Chiefs. I
yep.
will lean Kansas City to win this game. Maybe not even to cover. The spread is a flat 3 points. This could even be a situation where it comes down to a Butker kick to win the game, and they're
Would not
losing
be
when
shocked.
they kick it. But Chiefs win.
Cool, I'm with you.
All
Alrighty, next
right, the
matchup:
next
Buccaneers
game.
Falcons.
To me, it's at the Falcons. Doesn't matter. I
Yeah,
think At the end of the day, I think when I was doing my big picture record prediction, I had the Buccaneers splitting with the Falcons, but winning this game and then losing at home. But I'm not factoring that in at this point. We're in the season. I'm taking it game by game. I
Yeah,
just think the Buccaneers come out looking strong. I
I'm
think
with you.
Michael Penix has a lot on his shoulders. Buccaneers.
Yeah, and this isn't even really an indictment on Michael Penix. It's more just about like it's his like he's got to ease into it. So like this is effectively
Yeah.
his rookie season. Like yeah, I have the Buccaneers too. I think they have the better roster. Um I think that they're going to win. Next game, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns. Um I think
Um,
that I think that the Bengals are going to win. I think that it's a factor of just quarterback play. I think it might be closer than some people would expect. Obviously, there's the aspect of like the Bengals never start well, but I do think that they actually implemented like meaningful changes in terms of their offseason approach that is going to benefit them. Um, Joe Burrow didn't get injured during camp. The contract situations have been fixed and cleared up. Uh, and I think the Bengals are just better than the Browns.
no, for me, the Bengals win this. The weak start factor has kind of been erased in my mind. I think this is the season where they just kind of put that narrative
Yeah.
to rest. Um, the only thing, this is not my upset alert in terms of like covering. The only factor that I was thinking about is that with a starting quarterback like Joe Flacco, the best that he is going to look is going to be week one.
True.
Like in terms of health and age, like it's not linear in the NFL, like going downwards in terms of health and age. But like there is a world in which Joe Flacco's best game of this season is this week one game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I still do have like the we kind of glossed over it previously when talking about the Bengals, and because we were both high on them and elevated them to our 5 seed in the AFC. Man, that defense looked horrific in the preseason. And I know it's the
So bad.
preseason and it's hard to know exactly what to take away from it. There's a world in which for like specifically just this week, even if the Bengals win, people are going to be talking like, oh, same old Bengals, where it's like a 35-31 victory and the defense
Exactly.
doesn't look like it
Well,
can stop a cold.
again, here's what I don't and again, I don't want to act like this is like an easy matchup for the Bengals because if there's one advantage that the Browns have, it's in the trenches. And like I could easily see a world where the pass rush just overtakes the Bengals and it's a close, low scoring game where like in the end, the Bengals defense just completely crumbles, right? Like Joe Flacco isn't this spectacular quarterback, but he can make a read, you know? And it's like blown coverage he'll expose. And blown coverage is something that the Bengals will probably put on film. And so it's one of those situations where it's like, if the Bengals do end up losing, like I guarantee it's because we lost in the trenches. Joe Burrow got sacked a bunch, right? Like Mason Graham and
Yeah.
Myles Garrett had a field day, and then the defense just looked atrocious.
Yeah. Our next game is the Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts, two teams that we both think could potentially be competing for number one overall seeds. At least I do. Maybe that's a hot take. I'm very
Yeah,
down on the Dolphins more than
me
some
too.
people.
Me too. I
And
predict the
so,
Colts to win this game.
yes, I Colts at home, Daniel Jones, like Tua Tagovailoa is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I know
Yes.
what I'm getting for Daniel Jones, and so with the rest of the roster at a factor here, home game, I'll pick it to where it's like this weird thing where like it's a feel good weak opponent at home. Colts start off 1-0.
Yeah. And I will say it's one of those things where it's like ironically the if there was a strength of this Colts team, it would potentially be their secondary. Like they added a good amount of pieces. to that secondary.
Whereas the biggest weakness and perhaps the worst unit in football might be the Dolphins secondary
of the Dolphins. Right. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if the Colts can somehow contain the firepower of the Dolphins, I think that they'll be able to finish it off with a solid run game and a run attack with a decent offensive line and, Jonathan Taylor. The Dolphins have a great, great defensive line. That's the strength of their team. So I think it'll be an interesting game. I actually think it will be a decent game. I don't think it's going to be boring nonetheless, but I think the Colts will have it.
No, you know what we're biggest believers of in a philosophy that we want to establish is that no matchup between two, dumpster NFL teams is bad.
Yes.
Football is football. NFL football is fun to watch. All
fun.
The minutia, all of the details. Football is fun, people.
Also, that freaking defensive games are boring. I feel like defensive games are incredible to watch. I love it personally.
This is an NFL podcast, not a college football podcast. One of my favorite parts about college football for the first couple weeks is that the defenses are almost unanimously ahead of the offenses to start the season. And so we get these like Ohio State versus Texas 14-7, Clemson versus LSU 17 to, or what did that was 17-10.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's just how it is. And it's good football.
And I just have to say it because I have a platform and maybe someone will watch this. And I just need to get this off my chest. That was a touchdown. What a terrible call by the refs. I'm glad LSU won. I literally called Jonathan because I was like, I have to tell someone how stupid this is.
It was funny. I knew exactly what it was. Like, I got a call 15 seconds after it was reversed, if you know what we're talking about. And, I knew instantly that a rant was coming.
I was like, dude, what are they smoking? Like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, okay, we can move on. Panthers, Jaguars at Jaguars.
I feel like we've been in lockstep for a lot here, but at the same, like, there's a meat of the schedule. We're going to have some differences. I think we're probably in the same line here. Jaguars win this.
Yes. Yep. I think that Liam Cohen and his offense is going to be schemed up really well. And it really is just as simple as like their defense, the Panthers defense got better, but from where they were last year, getting better is still real bad.
Yes.
So,
yeah, that's a great point.
It's as simple as that. Raiders, Patriots. Where are you going with this one?
I'm going Patriots.
Okay.
Obviously, I have them as my 7-seed wildcard team sneaking in. My Raiders stock, or whatever you want to call it, has increased over these last couple of weeks. But home game, that New England crowd is going to be bought in fully for the first time in quite a while. Foxborough will be very loud, very raucous, reminiscent of old Patriots days. That'll be a tough environment for a completely rebuilt Raiders team. I'll go the Patriots here.
Okay, I'm actually going the Raiders. The reason why is just because I think that knowing Vrabel's scheme, like he's going to want to win in the trenches, and that's where the Raiders have the advantage, specifically on the offensive line. So that's why I'm going with the Raiders. Obviously, somehow the Patriots have like more. Well, no, I think that Brock Bowers is going to be incredibly impactful. I actually, when we get to our awards predictions, have him in there. Believe it or not. But yeah, I think that they're going to win the trenches. The Raiders have a surprisingly good offensive line with a lot of young guys, especially within the interior. I think it's going to be one of those like punch you in the mouth type games where it's going to be close. It's going to come down to the wire, and I think that the Raiders are just going to be able to win in the trenches.
Do you think Ashton Genty, like, just like out of the gate, like, yeah, I'm here, I'm him?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not even going to be like, I think that his runs or his yards per carry average isn't that good, but his overall yards is going to be like over 100 potentially.
Okay. That's what I envision that. I can envision the
Like, I think they're
game
just
that
going to, I just think
you're
that
painting
they
for me.
know that they have the advantage on that O line. And so like,
Okay.
I think it's going to be like short passes to Brock Bowers, let him do some yards after the catch, get some yards after the catch, and just like punching them in the mouth over and over again.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate the vision you're putting down. The next game on the slate is the Arizona Cardinals at the New Orleans Saints.
Upset alert. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going Cardinals. You want to know my
Yeah.
strategy for fantasy football for defenses? I'm picking up
What?
as often as I can the defense that is going against the New Orleans Saints. Right now, the starting defense on both my fantasy football teams that I have, the Cardinals.
Not a bad gig. I mean, the Saints are my personal favorite to be the number 1 overall seed.
Oh, me
That
too.
roster,
100%. 100%.
Oh boy. Yeah, the Cardinals win this one. It's going to be one of those things where I will let it feed into my pro Cardinals narrative when it happens, but also I will I'm saying this now because I might let it feed into my pro Cardinals take, but like the Cardinals could dominate in this game, and realistically that doesn't actually mean that much for the outlook of them this season.
My view on the Cardinals is that they are going to destroy teams that are bad.
That's actually kind of where I'm at, where it's one of those teams where even if they prove me wrong and they only go like 8-9, but they could have like a plus 80 point differential on the season with a
Like,
sub 500 record.
They might put 40 on the Saints. I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, inevitably, we're going to have a Saints start like last season, where where they're just cruising. Spencer Rattler is just like, for the first 2 weeks of the season, we're just like, what's going on with the Saints?
What were we thinking? Okay, Steelers Jets.
The very kind of sneakily under discussed return. It's not return home. It's like return to that condo you stayed at for like 2 weeks on a beach vacation.
It's not even.
It's like you're on a road trip and you're driving through the city that like your ex
that you were
lived in.
Yeah.
And you're like you don't even drive by the house. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, this is here.
This was a part of my life at one point.
That's funny. This was actually one of my tougher games to pick. Home game for the Jets. And I'm pro Aaron Glenn. I like what he's going to build, but I also just think the inability of the Jets to pass the ball means that even if their run game is good, like they're not going to have a chance to make the Steelers do anything but load up the box.
Yeah. I think that the box score will look like it's a close game, but anyone who's watching will realize like the Steelers just kind of wiped the floor with them. The reason I say that is just because I think that the Steelers have a top 5 defensive line in the NFL. And so it's like, I just don't think, like, I think that the Jets are going to win games and avoid being the worst team in the league and even the worst team in their division because of their run game, but not against a team like the Steelers.
Yeah, this is like the Steelers, like the Jets are already not going to be very good or even good, but the Steelers are the specific kind of team where even though Steelers are not some sort of contender, is kind of like the kryptonite to what the Jets are trying to do.
Literally.
So, yeah. The next game on the slate is the New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. This is not my upset alert. I have the Commanders winning this quite handedly.
Yeah, I do too.
Give me some analysis on
Daniel Jones
why
is
the
really
Commanders.
good.
Daniel Jones isn't on the
think,
Giants anymore.
No, I meant to say I meant to say Jaden Daniels.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I was like,
Jaden
what?
Daniels is super good. Yeah, that made no sense in any way. Jaden Daniels is just really good. I just think that the Giants are not going to be able to stop the Commanders.
No, I mean, Abdul Carter could have 3 sacks this game and the Commanders win by like 17
Well,
points.
and like the fact of the matter is that, and this is funny because like one of the reasons why we're not having a lot of disagreements in terms of our matchups is not just because not because like the teams aren't, evenly matched. It's more just because like, even if in the grand scheme of things, we view teams similarly, like our previous matchup with the Steelers and the Jets, one team's advantage is the other's disadvantage. Like, if there's not a lot of quarterbacks that I would pick to be able to, adapt to a really solid pass rush like the Giants will have, than Jaden Daniels. So it's like,
Yeah.
that advantage that they could potentially have kind of gets eliminated in my mind.
No, you're not wrong. That's actually great analysis, Adam. No, you're exactly
Thank you.
right on this, where it's like, yeah, the one massive strength that they have is
Yeah.
not entirely negated, but it's not nearly as much of a strength as it will be against other teams.
Yeah. Because what you want is a good, like someone who is mobile or someone who is really good at decision making. And Jaden Daniels is really good at both.
Yeah. No,
Like that's how
absolutely.
you beat the pass rush, is decision making and or mobility. And if you have both, like it's just a nightmare.
The next game on the slate is the Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos. What are your thoughts, Adam?
I think the Broncos win. I think that Cam Ward is going to struggle against this defense. Um, I think that, unfortunately, I think that people are going to be like, oh, this is your number one pick and Shedeur Sanders is on the bench. Like, I inevitably think that this is going to lead to conversations about Shedeur Sanders, which will make me mad and piss me off because I think it's stupid. I think that Cam Ward is going against.
Adam, let's be clear. I don't think this could lead to it. I think literally anything happening in the NFL ever could lead to Shedeur Sanders conversations for some people.
True. It's just like I think the Broncos are going to win. I actually kind of think that they're going to dominate them. There's really not even, I don't even think that there's any level at which I think the Titans have an advantage. Maybe you could say Calvin Ridley.
And yet, this is my upset alert.
I had a feeling it would be. I had a feeling it would be.
Not to win.
What's the spread?
7.5.
Okay, fair.
This is not being a picked outright win, so neither of our upset alerts this week are to outright win, which is smart. We're feeling out the point system in the NFL season, but I'm skeptical about Bo Nix, as I've established previously on the show, and I think.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's funny because if there's any week to predict it, it's this week because Vegas has the least amount of data to point to. So theoretically, strategically, this would be the smartest week to pick an upset team to win.
Yeah, it's this.
But whatever.
Like I could predict this going the same way, similarly, which was a game that. Also, no, it didn't. But it's similar to Caleb Williams' first start last year, where it's like Cam Ward could like only throw for like 100 yards. And this wouldn't be like a win in that scenario where the Bears won despite Caleb looking atrocious in his first ever career start. But like the Broncos offense could just look sluggish. It's also, there's something about this game where I'm like, I don't know if I'm willing to say they're going to win by more than a touchdown.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, like it's either the Broncos win by like 4 points or they win by like 20. Like I don't see a world in which it's like a 10-point win.
Personally, I believe that it's going to be a blowout. But we'll see.
We will see.
Like,
The
I think
next
that
game on the slate. Oh,
I
go
feel
ahead.
more confident about that than any other matchup.
That's really funny. I mean, hey,
That is really
that's
funny.
what the point system's for.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. Seattle versus or San Francisco at Seattle.
I think that in the same way that I talked about Joe Flacco, although very different players and caliber of players even at this point in their careers, I feel very similarly to Christian McCaffrey as I was talking about with Joe Flacco, where it's like there's no week that he's going to be better this season potentially than week 1 when he's at
True.
full health. And so I technically have, I do have the 49ers winning the division, but as we talked about when we really went in depth on the NFC West, that division is going to be an absolute bloodbath and really close. And so I wouldn't feel confident in betting on this game, but I will say the 49ers edge it out.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. There's a part of me that really likes what you said about Christian McCaffrey and how that this is going to be the one season or the one game that Christian McCaffrey is going to be playing the best. And I do agree with that. It's just hard because it's like Shanahan versus McDonald.
This is a fantastic coaching matchup.
Which, by the way, I've never even considered the fact that they're both in the same division, which is awesome.
No, you have the old established, proven, no matter what you could say about, he sells in big games, offensive mastermind with that's part of a coaching tree and has established a coaching tree of his own. And then the young hotshot defensive mastermind. This will be one of many great matchups to come, I hope.
I'm going with Seattle.
Okay. I don't hate that.
The reason why is because, first off, just given the dynamics of how things have panned out, the beginning of the season for the wide receiver core of the 49ers is very bleak, right? Ayuk isn't there. They traded away Debo, obviously. They're the guys that they're putting out there are not elite wide receivers. So yes, I think that obviously this is going to depend on the run game of Christian McCaffrey. And I just kind of think that I think that McDonald will have an answer.
Yeah, and I do want to say I somewhat buried the lead where this was actually my second choice for upset alert because the Seahawks are 2.5 point underdogs. I kind of threw myself off of it. You're kind of pushing me back in on it. I'm not going to change my upset alert. It's established. It's set in stone. But I don't feel confident writing down the 49ers, but I will. But then you also throw at me, and I could throw back at you, the Sam Darnold question.
True. Right. That pass rush might be not the best offensive one of those line. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. I just kind of envision it being a close game. Maybe, now I'm kind of convinced. No, I already said it. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. I don't really feel good about it, though. Brock Purdy just got paid. Maybe he can do some stuff, but I don't know. We'll see.
Now that we've both felt squeamish about our picks on the opposite sides of each other, the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers with Micah Parsons, most likely, just for some context, will be relatively limited in terms of snap count.
Maybe, you would assume. I'm going with where am I going? You give your pick first.
I have the Packers. I just think that the vibes and the energy will be high. It's at home, division. I mean, I am scared of Aiden Hutchinson as a little bit of a preview for our awards picks later. Aiden Hutchinson is really scary.
Me too.
But I think I will go Green Bay. And Green Bay, and this is one of those ones where if I'm right, and the Packers do win this, it kind of sets the tone for what I've established Packers winning that division.
Yeah. I'm going Lions here. I think that the
Wow.
firepower is just too much. I really do.
Okay.
And also the Aiden Hutchinson effect. I don't know. I understand that there's like a lot of question marks about it. We'll talk about this later, by the way. And I actually have kind of talked about this related to the Matthew Stafford injury, about like the difference between like a leg injury and a back injury. Medical science has advanced quite a bit when it comes to mending broken bones. So I think that Aiden Hutchinson is going to have a field day in that game.
Okay. I like it. Staking a claim.
I
See, I told you that we would have some differences coming down at the end here.
for sure.
The next game on the slate is the Houston Texans at the Los Angeles Rams. Yet another one where I may be overusing this kind of thought process, but with Matthew Stafford once again, and this is probably objectively the most true, this will be the healthiest he will be all season. And for a guy like Matthew Stafford, that does play a factor. That Houston Texans O-line is...
That's where it is for me.
And Jared Verse. Ooh.
Yikes. Yikes. Not looking good.
And so it's weird because I have the Rams missing the playoffs and the Texans winning their division. And yet in this game, I will pick the Rams.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, again, I do think that the Texans will be better than the Rams as a whole. Sean McVay and that offensive line going against Jared Verse and a very solid defensive line from the Rams, I'm picking the Rams. It's even one of those things where I'm actually building into me picking the Rams that Garoppolo is going to be starting.
I mean, I think it's pretty certain that Stafford will be starting week 1, but fair enough.
Will he? Will he? Oh, I haven't heard that report. I haven't really looked into any updates on what.
Maybe I just made that up in my mind, but I think that's pretty well established, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Either way, though, I do think I don't want to completely ignore the fact that the Houston Texans defense will be really good. At least we assume.
No, Matthew Stafford is expected to start.
Yeah. But that being said,
huge, in fact. So yeah, then I definitely take the Rams without a doubt.
This is another one where out of conference, but DeMeco Ryans as a very good defensive head coach, I will still take Sean McVay.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. All right, now we're getting to a nice matchup. Baltimore Ravens at Buffalo.
I think it sets the tone. I think it establishes who is the favorite for the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. And I think that Baltimore exercises some demons. I'm going the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ravens too, which is funny because I actually predicted the Bills to win the Super Bowl in our last episode. The reason I'm picking the Ravens, though, is because I still had them as the number 1 seed. I think that they're going to be the better regular season team, and I think that this game could determine it. And I'm going with the Ravens. I think that, one, your same logic, if Jair Alexander is going to be impactful at all, it's going to be at the beginning of the season. 2, I think that the run game is going to simply be too much for that Bills defense. And so it's like, I think the Ravens are going to win this game.
Because that was the thing. And it's, again, one of those things where, is it a mental problem? Is it a game plan problem? What is it? Lamar in the playoffs, thinking back all the way back to last year's playoff matchup between the two of them, they just feel like different players, Lamar in the regular season, the playoffs, where it's like, Lamar, you were such a gifted runner. But I have no doubt that Lamar will be, he's obviously established himself as a quality passer, and for for at least the short-term future, that will be the case. But I also see Lamar running wild in this game.
No, I do too. Yeah. I actually wouldn't be entirely shocked if it was like not that close for the Ravens.
I actually kind of foresee the same thing.
Yeah. Like, obviously, if it's a close game, like, these are two really solid teams, the top two teams in the AFC, according to our predictions. But, like,
And to be clear, even though you're saying that
like,
as someone who picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl, I'm saying it as
yeah,
someone who picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. But even for me, that's not because I think that the Ravens are just like a head above the Bills. I just think that that's the kind of game that this could turn into.
this is also something historically that the Ravens do
Yeah.
in the regular season. Like, I'm reminded of that one matchup, Ravens versus 49ers, the year that the Ravens won the AFC. They destroyed them, just to put it bluntly. And so I could see a similar situation.
And that wasn't that the Christmas night game?
It might
I
have
believe
been.
so.
It was definitely around that. It was, yeah, it might have been.
Because I
It was
was
a great
looking
game.
to drown my sorrow because that was in the middle of the Chiefs' ass stretch where we lost to the
Yeah.
Raiders on Christmas, and I was
That
looking
was
for
so funny.
and I was looking for any sort of peace and hope and joy on Christmas, and the 49ers getting destroyed by Lamar Jackson made me happy.
It was really fun to watch. It was so fun to watch because it was like, oh my gosh, like the top two teams from the conferences, like they're going against each other. Like,
Well,
they're
that was
clearly, these
when
are the best
Lamar
two
clearly
teams.
established himself as the MVP frontrunner
Yes,
and then didn't give it
exactly.
up the rest of the way.
Yeah, which that was really late in the season. So, like, but yeah, no, that was almost like established as MVP.
Yeah.
Okay, last matchup, Monday night, Vikings at Bears.
I am not solidly. I'm pretty confident in saying that Chicago gets this one, but I know you are far high. If our two biggest teams that we disagree on by conference is in the AFC, the Broncos, where you're
Yes.
high and I'm low, and then the same thing with the Vikings, you're high, I'm low.
Yeah. I think that this is actually a really tough matchup for me to predict because I'm high on both of them. I'm going, and what's weird about it is that, like, this is one of the few times that Caleb Williams is going to have, like, the experience advantage. So, like, that makes it
That's a good
difficult.
point.
That makes it difficult for me. I think that the Vikings are not going to be, like, me baking in the idea that they're going to be better than people think. Keep in mind, I still had them as the third best team in their division and just sneaking into the playoffs as the 7th seed. I think that the Bears are going to start off well with Ben Johnson, with all of that, because really this is just a factor of, like, who is going to be more rusty and who's going to, I guess you could say, like, need time to rev up into the season. Ben
Fair.
Johnson in the Chicago Bears or JJ McCarthy. I would predict JJ McCarthy would have a harder time getting accustomed to NFL football. So that's why I picked the Bears.
Fair.
And it's a home game
NFL
for
football
the Bears.
is a lot easier when you get to throw to Justin Jefferson.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. So maybe, if the Vikings win, like, I'm not solid on that prediction. It's more just like I could just see it where it's like JJ McCarthy just isn't fully confident yet. He isn't fully accustomed. And then once he kind of knocks off those, like, first game jitters, he kind of gets going. Especially
Okay.
it's a primetime matchup. So that's
It is
also
prime time.
an impact.
That is an
Or impactful.
interesting thing. I wonder the amount of, like, first-time quarterbacks, first-time starting that have been in a standalone primetime game.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could
I
be a
don't know.
tough one. So it sounds like we're both going with Chicago.
Yeah.
So we, across the board in terms of differences on games, this is not upset alert because neither of us picked upset alert outright wins. We have 1, 2, 3. We only have 3 games that we disagree on,
That's interesting.
which is interesting. But at the same time, I feel like that should be about expected for the season because everyone across the NFL world, for the most part, I'm not saying that everyone will have the same picks, but everyone that's in like a circle of NFL discussion, we're all operating with the exact same information. And it's not but that's the beauty of football, people. you have to play the games.
You have to just wait and collect data. And the other thing too is I personally, the concept that there will be like in any given week around 2 to 3 surprising wins makes sense to me. Like I feel like that's like within the margin of error, if that makes sense, for like what you would
That's fair.
expect.
Yeah. I think the one, what's the game that you're the most nervous about?
I'm really nervous about picking Seattle.
Okay.
I think it's that one actually.
It's funny, I'm pretty nervous about picking the 49ers in that one. The one that I'm the least confident in that we went both on is probably Miami at Indianapolis, because I am really bad on Indianapolis, but like Tua is just a much better quarterback than Daniel Jones.
True. Yeah, I could low-key just see a situation where it's like, it's weird. It's one of those things where it's like in a close matchup, I would take the Colts, but like I could kind of see the Dolphins just kind of going crazy and like scoring like 30 points.
Well, yeah, they have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I mean,
Yeah.
all Devon Achane, all these guys. And yet, part of what I'm baking into this is nothing that's come out of the locker room of Miami for the last 2 years is good.
That's been good. Nope. It has been not good. Their vibes are low.
Yeah. Well, we just predicted the entire week 1 slate. If you enjoyed that, you should go like and subscribe. But just wait. We're not done yet. We're about to give our last major season-long predictions. We're going to be predicting the NFL awards: MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Offensive and Defensive Rookie in the Year, and a brand new award that I don't think hardly anyone knows exists.
I'm excited
the Protector of the Year.
I was nerding out trying to pick my pick. Oh, I was so excited. I had like 10 guys that I was thinking about. It's going to be good. No, I love the fact that they included this. I just wish they would have done it when like Andrew Whitworth was playing on the Bengals, but whatever.
This would be fun to go back in history and like,
yeah.
Well, because you also think of like just how often offensive linemen get snubbed in like consideration for any sort of prestige.
Yeah.
Like it just the NFL did something good by making this award.
They really did. They finally did something good. I love
it. In fact, let's honor the fact that the NFL did something good. Let's start with our Protector of the Year picks.
Okay, sounds good. Do you want me to go first?
Of course.
Okay. So what's cool about this, and the fact that this is the first year with it, is with other awards, you can kind of get an understanding of what voters are looking for. Exactly. And understand like the context of like what a player has to do in order to win that award. This is completely new. And so baked into this is me predicting what I think it's supposed to look like. The first thing that I kind of thought about was I think that they're going to have to be part of a unit that is really solid.
Yes.
Okay. So then I limited it to top 5. Like, what are the teams that I think will have a top 5 offensive line? I also think that it's the surprise factor is going to be important with this award, meaning that people are going to be looking at the tertiary players that are impacted by offensive linemen in order to determine which one should be the Protector of the Year. And so those are like the two main factors. I think I know where you're
going with this. I'm curious.
So I really don't think you are. Who do you think it is?
Okay. No.
Who do you think it is?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So my pick for Protector of the Year, who I think, and also I want to clarify with a lot of these awards, a lot of what I did was like, I predicted like who I would want it to be too. Like that was a big factor here.
Fair.
My Protector of the Year prediction is Garrett Bowles, left tackle for the Broncos.
I know you're not going to believe me. I was going to say it's going to be an offensive lineman for the Broncos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, totally fair. I think that people can severely underestimate how great that offensive line is as a unit. Um, when you talk about offensive lines, everyone talks about the Eagles and the Lions. The Broncos, guys, just go watch the Broncos tape. Go watch the pancakes. Garrett Bowles has been a staple of that offensive line for a really, really long time. This is not me saying that Bo Nix is going to have some incredible season, but I think that, and I really hope that when the Broncos, as I predict, have a season like I think they're going to have, people are going to realize how impactful that offensive line is. And one of the reasons why I picked them is because of the lack of weaponry. People don't realize this, but last year, Bo Nix was pressured like I think like less than any other quarterback, and he also had the most time to throw of any other quarterback. That's why
Dang.
he's successful. That's why I don't predict a regression, because it's not one of those situations where I think Bo Nix is this incredible quarterback that can kind of get it out of the mud. I think it's that he's literally in an incredible situation in the one of, if not the cleanest pockets within the NFL. And so we're going to see this progression. And I predict that people are going to realize, holy crap, one of the reasons why the Broncos are able to compete so well on offense specifically, it's because of this offensive line, and Garrett Bowles is the anchor.
Incredible stuff. It's hard to go against you. I love hearing you talk offensive line, Adam.
I love it, dude.
What I will add on to, because I was the same way, where it's like, what are people going to want from this? As a baseline, no player is going to win this award who's not on a playoff team.
Sure.
You can call that fair or unfair. That's just a fact.
That's kind of true with awards, other than rookies.
Yeah. What I also looked for was storyline.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's all of a sudden, because of a big injury, going to be thrust into a role. He has the talent, he has the pedigree, and he's part of a culture that could support. Go ahead.
Can I guess? Joe Alt?
Bingo.
Joe Alt?
Yep. Joe Alt, especially with the context of the Rashawn Slater injury. If that unit is good, if Justin Herbert has time, who's going to get the credit for that? 100%. Joe Alt.
I see the vision. Yes, I see the.
So it's one of those things
within the context of how I know you think that the Chargers, like 100%. Like if you end up being right about the Chargers, 100%, I could see Joe Alt winning this award.
Yeah. The only other guy is, not the only other guy, but it could, the award also could just go to a guy who is just a dominant freak, like Panay Sewell.
Yeah.
Like if the Lions are a playoff team or are, and especially if they win that division again, I'm not predicting that, but if they do, it could kind of be Panay Sewell in a landslide.
So there's another thing too that I thought of that, and this kind of goes when I'm making my predictions, by the way, most of these, like especially predictions like this, where it's like, it really is a shot in the dark. So I might as well predict something that I like and that I think is fun and that I'm going to want to happen. The truth is that no one knows offensive linemen, right?
It's sad.
So if there's it sucks, but it's the truth. I think that name recognition is going to carry this award in reality.
Yeah.
So I think the guys that like Penny Sewell, Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, and Jordan Mailata.
There might not be a guy who is angrier about this award being created this late into the NFL's existence than Trent Williams. He might have won like 5 straight.
Literally, like he would have been the like literally, yeah, no,
like he's already obviously going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's not something where this is like he's not going to suddenly be in the Hall of Fame, but his trophy room would be a lot bigger right now.
100%. So like I could see that, right? I think both of us were kind of under the like assumption of like We're looking at this more of like guys who like would kind of get thrust into the limelight, which I think what this award should do. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I
Yeah.
could 100% see both of those situations happening. Where
S
do you want to
so
go
do we
next?
want why don't we work in terms of, like, not all of these awards are cool, but, like, bottom up, and we can start with
Okay,
the rookies of the year.
sounds good.
So let's start with defensive rookie of the year. I will say it's funny. We're starting with this one, which is kind of an exception to this for me personally. I picked guys who I think will win, and then another guy who is, if I had to pick, not like a crazy long shot, but like a dark horse with decent odds that were, in a betting sense, I picked that. But that did not exist here because there's only one man who's going to win this award, which is Abdul Carter.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. So I went. It's funny because like he was obviously someone that makes a lot of sense, but I wanted to kind of give some love to Malachi Starks. I just think
Okay,
that
yeah.
the reason why is just because I think that for Abdul Carter to win this award, he's just going to have a lot of sacks. Not a lot, but I just think that like his impact is going to, and this is just the truth of the matter. You've talked about this a lot. Edge rushers' impact, especially for awards, is measured by sacks oftentimes, and so that was the thing that was kind of holding me back. Where there's a lot of talented edge rushers, and we could say like, look how impactful he is. He's clearly the best defender, but he only has like 4 or 5 sacks on the year, just the way that
Yeah.
it pans out. Where the reason I picked Malachi Starks is one because I think that he's going to be part of why I think that the Ravens are going to be so dominant is because I truly believe that they're going to have the best secondary in the league. And so given that fact that that's going to be a strength and the fact that he's going to be on in my predictions the number 1 seed within the NFL and like he's clearly going to be a big impactful part of that defense, that's why I went with Malachi Starks.
The only thing that I will say to counter that is that Abdul Carter, like, yeah, he's a rookie. He's going to get the playing time as if he was a 5-year established NFL vet.
True.
He's going to be in there
Yeah.
all of the time. Like, it's not going to be some ramp up. Whereas, like, Malachi Starks should be great. Everything that we've seen about him, it should be an amazing player. But like Abdul Carter is going to get more opportunities than Malachi Starks is in that secondary, at least for like the first
Probably.
5 weeks of the season,
Yeah.
because that Baltimore secondary, even without Malachi Starks, is really good.
Yeah. True.
That would be my argument against it, but I'm pro, non-pass rushers getting love in defensive
Yeah.
awards.
Okay. Want to go
Here's
to
where we
offensive
get,
rookie?
yeah, offensive rookie. You give me yours.
So this is kind of, and part of the reason, because of this pick that I'm about to say, I didn't pick Abdul Carter because I didn't want to go cliche. I picked Ashton Genty. And it's a lot of the similar reasons you just said, where it's like, he's just going to get such a workload
Yeah.
that yeah. end of analysis.
I went Ashton Genty as well. My sneaky dark horse at plus 1,200 odds, Travion Henderson, the
Mm,
Patriots rookie running back. My only concern for Henderson would be, like, he may not get goal line touches compared to Ramondre Stevenson. So, like, he might not get the touchdowns.
right.
But
Like
so I
he's
was
sharing a
looking at,
backfield to an extent. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I did, because it's the off, like, I'll like 75% of all NFL seasons, you know who's going to win the Rookie of the Year's award for both of them, barring injury. Like, you kind of just know, I feel like. And so I felt confident saying Ashton Genty here.
Cool. Cool. Makes sense to me. All right, coach of the
Coach
year.
of the Year. I
Okay.
went Mike Vrabel. Coach
I
of the
like it.
year is historically very much pro a team that's in the trenches all of a sudden going to like an above 500 record and sneaking into the playoffs. For example, Brian Dable with the Giants in the past. Like this
Kevin O'Connell
award, Kevin
last year.
O'Connell, like this award is kind of built, although Kevin O'Connell actually kind of deserved it for 15-2.
100%.
I didn't mean kind of deserve it. I just meant the award is not afraid to go to
Yeah.
teams that are only like 10-7 because of the
Yes.
context of what they were inheriting. And so that's why I went Mike Vrabel in line with my prediction that the Patriots will sneak into the wild card. My sneaky pick is Matt LaFleur, which has only now been elevated by the Micah Parsons, just elevating that team and their chances. But I went for Vrabel here.
Yeah, absolutely. I went Sean Payton. I just think that he's like obviously established. And so like this was hard for me, but it really is just in line with how I view the Broncos. And more specifically, because I don't even think like this award to me is more related to what is their perception of the team before the season starts.
That's a
Because
good point.
last year I was not that shocked. Like, okay, I was shocked that the Vikings did as well as they did, but I wasn't that surprised. Like there, I felt like that the writing was on the wall for them to have like a good season and make the playoffs. No one could have predicted how well Sam Darnold would have done, but that's kind of how I view this Broncos team, where it's like I think that there are a lot of people who are not really realizing how good they're going to be. And then, like for you, for example, and then they're going to be a team that just like is competing like heavily and just dominating these teams, like these teams, and like competing. Maybe they'll even sneak out a win against a contender, right? Like I think that that's where this team is going to be at. And the fact that, you know, Bo Nix is good, but the fact that he's going to be the quarterback running it all is going to be impactful. So I just think that
You
like for
convinced me
me,
there.
yeah. And so I think that for me, it's not even a situation about like what team, because like I think that you're right about Vrabel being like the pick of the like the best pick in terms of teams that are going to make the largest like jump in terms of wins from last year compared to this upcoming season. But I think a lot of this is just going to come down to perception, because the other thing is, I think that even though the Broncos, part of this is I predicted the Chiefs to win the division. I think that the Broncos are going to give them a run for their money, which is going to make people really like the Broncos. And so
No,
that
you're right.
change in perception from, you know, this is just like a team that, you know, maybe they'll be third or maybe they'll make the playoffs like last year, to holy crap, this is a clear like this is a clear and away playoff team who's competing for their division, is going to carry for Sean Payton's case.
If the world that you've painted in your Broncos prediction is correct, then they're going to be such a fan favorite
Yeah.
because they'll be competing with the Chiefs. So yeah, I get the picture that you're painting.
Yeah. Cool.
Offensive
You go
player of
first.
the year. Originally, before certain things happened and occurred, I had CeeDee Lamb winning this award.
Yikes.
I still think that CeeDee Lamb could have a fantastic season and almost has to have a fantastic season. It's not going to result in offensive player of the year, however. I had a really tough time here.
Me too.
Because this award no longer goes to quarterbacks. It used to pretty regularly. It's now consistently only who people think the best wide receiver or running back was. I have a hard time believing that a running back will win this award once again, and so I leaned to wide receiver. But I think that Mahomes will do what he did, and it's a little bit of a spoiler for my MVP pick. Mahomes will do what he did with his second MVP, where he wins both MVP, and Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, okay. Lame.
I know that
to be
I know
honest with
that
you,
that's lame to non-Chiefs fans, but like that's I want to set the picture here. I think that the Mahomes statistical dominance will be back this season. If
Yeah.
it's not, and maybe he doesn't win Offensive Player of the Year as well, in which case my pick then falls to, there's a whole roster of guys that I could throw in
Yeah.
there. Probably Derrick Henry.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So here's my logic and my reasoning. When I was thinking about this award, I was thinking about, and like part of my prediction is baked into a change in how this award is viewed. I think that as a reaction to the negativity related to the fact that only quarterbacks can win MVP, the way that the NFL has countered that is by making this award no longer a QB award. And so that's why I think that this concept, that's why like I wouldn't predict Patrick Mahomes to win Offensive Player of the Year, because they want to give love to certain players who dominate offensively. Does that make sense? Where it's like,
Yeah.
I also think that they're going to be changing another thing. There is this position group that has historically been underrated, and because of the fine work by really talented athletes within this position group, the tides are changing. And I think that this could potentially be the year that this position group gets the love that it deserves. And I think that this player is going to be, in terms of this position, this award is going to be standing on the shoulders of legends. Namely among those include Tony Gonzalez, include Rob Gronkowski, and of course include Travis Kelce and George Kittle. And so therefore, I'm predicting that Brock Bowers is going to win Offensive Player of the Year. I think go ahead.
I mean, he's our Jackie Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's the Jackie Robinson of,
Whoa!
of tight ends.
I just agreed to that. I was like, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute.
He's the Jackie Robinson of tight ends in terms of breaking through the glass ceiling and winning this award. They tried to keep tight ends out.
Yeah. But no, nope, not
They're
gonna make
glorified offensive linemen.
Get out of here. No, but like and again, this is partly like, again, this is where it comes into where it's like, this is a prediction, but also underlying that is what I want to happen, where it's like the concept again that and like I'm saying this fully admitting there were years that Travis Kelce should have won this award.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying this to say that, like, this concept that, like, I think that next year there's going to definitely be a shift in terms of, and for years to come, like, this isn't a quarterback award. We're going to be giving it to the player that, to the non-quarterback who won MVP, right? Because I think quarterbacks winning MVPs is set, right? I just think that, and I think that this award is going to be kind of held like that, where it's like, it's not going to be the MVP, it's not going to be a quarterback, so we're kind of counteracting that fact by choosing a non-quarterback offensive player. And I just think that the perception of tight ends has grown, and Brock Bowers is going to take advantage of that. The other thing about this is I think that he's going to get an insane amount of touchdowns. Yeah. And that's really what it boils down to, is that,
and just an insane amount of touches.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that he is about to go crazy. And like I would not be shocked if I believe Travis Kelce has the record for the most amount of yards in a season.
By a tight end?
Yeah. Do you remember what the exact number is?
I don't off the top of my head.
Keep talking about Brock Bowers.
Okay. No, Brock Bowers is fantastic. I think that the only thing that could diminish his chance of winning this award is the overall team success of the Raiders. But in a true and just world, even if that is the case and the Raiders don't make the playoffs, if Brock Bowers does potentially what Adam is saying he could do and is capable of doing, he should absolutely be in
Yeah.
consideration for this award.
I just think I legitimately think that next year he could have 1,500 yards, which, by the way, would break the record. Travis Kelce set the record with 1,400 yards in a season. And it really just comes down to, I think he's in such a situation to put up monster numbers. And I think that if he does that, right, if that prediction is correct, I think that there's going to be this huge movement of people that are like, why isn't he, like, he's the real guy who should be winning. And like, look how impactful he is. Like, he's the only one who scores touchdowns on that team. He's the only passing threat they have.
NFL
yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that could potentially carry him to winning Offensive Player of the Year. And if he does have that, if he has the type of season that I think he could, the fact that he could break a record is going to be a crazy storyline.
Yeah. And you're just making me feel better about having him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be, no, dude, I wish I had him on my fantasy team. I think he's going to go crazy.
Yeah, he's something else. We'll move on to Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So there was a clear pick for me, and I believe you have a clear pick as well. Before we get to that, I will say someone who gets some well-deserved love, even though I hate him, is Max Crosby. I think this could be a year where, even though I'm not predicting it, if my predictions are wrong and the Raiders are the sneaky team in the AFC West that's competing for a playoff spot and they get in, it will be because Max Crosby is playing on a team that is finally scoring enough points to where other teams have to pass the ball, meaning he has more pass rush attempts. Because something that's under-discussed is how many sacks that Max Crosby is able to get, despite the fact that the Raiders are playing opponents who are just running out clock on them 80% of the time.
That's a good point.
And so, which is a real thing. Like, that's 100% a real thing. And so in a world where you present where like Brock Bowers is that good and maybe the Raiders are sneaky competitive, I also think that Max Crosby will be near the top of the DPOY ballot. That being said, Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, no. I like the concept. I like the fact that you brought Max Crosby into this. I just don't think he'll ever have, I just like don't think the type of player he is conducive to having enough sacks within a season to be able to win this award. That being said, my pick is Aiden Hutchinson. It's just one of those things where I just want to believe it's so bad because his start to the season last year was so epic and incredible that it's like, I just want him so bad to come back. And speaking of which, I don't think we're predicting this, but in this situation, he would also win Comeback Player of the Year.
Yes, that's a good point. I think maybe absolutely.
Yeah. And so like, I just think that if he can, and like, he doesn't even, and this is the thing, because people are going to say like, well, like he's injured, so it's going to be rusty and blah, 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 blah. That was my impersonation of a stupid NFL fan, by the way. I'm going to have to bring that character back. I need to give it a name, like my stupid NFL player character. Anyway, I'm getting off topic.
Brett.
Yeah, like Brett, the stupid idiot. He's probably like a Cowboys fan or something. And so yeah, but people are going to say like, oh, but he's going to be rusty because he got injured and he's not going to be as mobile, yada, 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 yada. If he can be like 75% of what he was last year, he would win Defensive Player of the Year. Like, we're not expecting him to be like he was last year, because like he was last year was on pace for the greatest individual defensive season in the history of the NFL.
No, like he he wouldn't have won MVP because tragically it's only become a quarterback award. He would have been in the Lawrence Taylor's MVP year on defense discussions. That's the pace he was on.
Literally. Like, it was ridiculous how efficient and how incredible he was. Just what did he have? Like 40 something pressures in 5 games?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? He had 8 sacks in 5 games? Like, again, it's a small sample size, right? Like, all of the things, right, statistically, of why you can't just carry that across. But, like, again, even if you account for, statistical variance as well as the impact of his injury, I still feel like he could, by far and away, be the defensive player of the year.
Entirely fair. Now we come to
to
the most prestigious award. I already spoiled mine. I believe it will be Patrick Mahomes because I'm a loser and, lame. I will say my sneaky dark horse love here. Well, actually, I want to go ahead and let you say yours because I don't want to potentially steal your thunder.
Yeah, I picked Joe Burrow. Really what it comes down to is I was thinking about the worlds in which both of us are predicting in terms of our playoff matchup, and I just realized that, like, for the Bengals to be the 5 seed, I think Joe Burrow has to have an MVP type season. And, I just think that he has all of this, like, obviously he has the makeup, like he has the ability to. On top of that, he has situationally, he's in a situation where he could. And I think that last year, the biggest thing that held him back was the fact that he didn't make the playoffs. And I think that in a world where they're back in the playoffs, like next year, I'm not predicting it because you can't, but I wouldn't be shocked if he has a 5,000-yard season.
Okay.
Just because
I don't disagree with you that the world in which they are the 5 seed and potentially even like 11-6, it's just that the Ravens are so dominant. You're right.
Yeah. Like, it's not even a situation where it's like he doesn't have to do that much. Like I think that he could play as good as he played last year, but simply by the nature of the team and how it's changed, that would result in a 5,000-yard season, making the playoffs and winning MVP.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. My dark horse is because of the nature that they would be a number 1 overall seed is
Baker
someone
Mayfield?
who
I'm sorry. I keep like you're like trying to build up in this like dramatic way, and I mean,
it's not my official pick. It's just my dark horse. But in a world in which I'm right and they are the number 1 overall seed, a Baker Mayfield MVP would feed generations.
Oh my gosh, Jonathan! I would. I'm just like, that's it. Like, it is like legitimately, obviously I'm a Bengals fan. I love Joe Burrow. I want Joe Burrow to win MVP, but if he doesn't and Baker Mayfield does, I would not be mad. Not even a little bit.
I don't think there's a single person a single NFL fan in the country that would be upset.
Browns
with Baker
haters.
Mayfield.
Browns fans who are haters.
But I think Browns fans love Baker Mayfield. I think the Browns ownership group would be the only people
they
that
would
are
be
mad.
the mad. Yeah. Yeah, imagine. Dude, I love the storyline of like that trade would go from the worst in NFL history to like one of the worst in sports.
It might just like definitively do the worst in one fell swoop.
If you let go of a future MVP in order to trade a nasty man who tore his Achilles twice.
I love how that's your official name for him now, a nasty man.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to give him that respect. Okay, so we predicted our awards. A good mix of here's what realistically can happen, and in a perfect world, here's what we would want to happen.
If I were the NFL script writer, here's what I would do.
No, dude. Could you imagine Brock Bowers winning Offensive Player of the Year?
Imagine a world in which we have a Brock Bowers Offensive Player of the Year, Aiden Hutchins Defensive Player of the Year, and Baker Mayfield MVP.
Gosh, dude.
I could die happy.
I really like like I just can't I can't force myself to do it, but I want to so bad buy a creamsicle Baker Mayfield jersey.
It's a fantastic jersey.
And I just love, like, even when he was on the Browns, watching him as a Bengals fan, I just loved him so much. Like,
Yeah.
I just like, and then he
It's
left, and I was like, let's go.
He's been such a character since Oklahoma. I mean, his Heisman year at Oklahoma, everything, you know, and he's made mixed personal decisions. He was a young hothead. Now he's kind of like settled down, come into his own. It really feels like he found a home in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Like it seems like he legitimately loves that city and that organization. I could not be happier that Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield, you know, found each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Adam, give me a player who the listeners should go watch highlights of.
Baker Mayfield. Obviously. Obviously, Baker Mayfield, dude.
You know what you should do right now, people, is go watch the Oklahoma versus Texas Tech game
my gosh.
between Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes, where they threw for a combined 1,500 passing yards.
That's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous, dude. Oh my gosh. I think that's the over-under on Jalen Hurts' season. Which, by the way, is not Jalen Hurts hate. It sounds like it, but really I'm trying to make a point about how often they run the ball, but whatever. I hope that pisses off some Eagles fans. I'll perceive it as
Jalen Hurts hate.
I hope it pisses off some Eagles fans, though.
Well, people, if you enjoyed this episode, if you're excited for week 1 of the NFL season, every single one of the games that we predicted could be wrong. Every single game that Adam and I both agreed upon could be wrong. That's the beauty of this season.
If we get like negative points.
There's a world in which I think it is mathematically possible.
Yeah, but we're too smart for that.
Okay, I'll say this right now. If one of us ends up with negative points at the end of this week, we officially have to, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. You can infer what I was going to say.
We officially have to. We set up like one of those. Have you seen that video of that guy? And he's like, he has to like escape a lock or whatever in time, or else there's like this contraption that's gonna like pull down his pants in front of a bunch of like
Nathan Fielder. Yeah.
Like that's what it is. We got to do something like that.
No, it's the awesome line. You know, other escape artists have risked their lives. I'm risking becoming a nationally registered sex offender.
And with that, we'll see you guys later. Have fun watching the NFL.